When did you come to Harlow?
Came over here on the 1st of July 1985, so that's 32 years ago nearly.
32 years ago nearly. And where did you come from and why did you come here?
I came from Gibraltar, which is a British colony, and obviously there's been links with the UK throughout my upbringing, but my wife Julie is from Harlow, and we basically came over here just for a couple of years to do some training and then probably go back to the Sun Sea and the Mediterranean, and 32 years later nearly I'm still here.
So was it, was it like a job ad that you saw, or was it
No, it was just trying to do something different. And coming over to, we had one son at the time who was a baby, and it was just sharing the family, but also coming over here and doing a few bits that Gibraltar's lovely, but it's quite small. To me, coming to Harlow, coming to the UK was just expanding my horizons and being able to breathe a little bit.
Because people always say that to you, oh, Gibraltar, and you came to Essex, but without praising or denigrating either just now, were there any similarities to Gibraltar or Harlow?
I think there are pockets of similarity. Obviously the weather isn't at all similar, but I think the family and the closeness between families. Having seen Gibraltar, having seen the UK on the television and just coming over every now and again just on holiday, I always thought that families in the UK were probably a little bit more separated and less close. So that's quite reassuring to see families being close. Not every family, but then again, not every family in Gibraltar is close. But I think that's a real positive for Harlow. Although Harlow is a lot bigger than Gibraltar, it's still a small community. And I think, for instance, in my family, we've got children and we've got our grandchildren, and we see them because they're around. They live in the town. One of them has left the town and left the country altogether, but we see them fairly frequently, and that seems to ring true with a lot of my peers and colleagues and friends. So, yeah.
Was it easy to build up a support structure in those early days?
Not as easy. I had a strong family commitment, and my in-laws were just as good as my parents, and I think I owe them a lot for having stayed here through the resilience of their support. But I think it was hard at the beginning to create links. When you come from a place that you've been born in and you've grown up with everyone, you've got all your family, and then you come over here and you've only got one small section of support. It was a little bit hard in that respect, but I'm quite a bit of a what's the word? I can adapt, and I'm able to make friends. And there was a lot of people there that were open to friendships and open to creating links with our side of the family. So yeah, it's been a ride, and but I'm glad I've stayed. I've seen a lot of positives. Some negatives, but a lot of positives, and I'm still here. A
lot of positive changes. So I always get the feeling with yourself, you're saying that, without too much going into politics, that, and people tend to, you look at the past with rose-tinted specs. The 80s weren't some sort of wonderful, happy land here.
No, not at all, not at all. Harlow was hard in the 80s, especially for someone with my background, because people made a judgment based on what they saw. So they saw a foreign man, and they made an assumption a lot of the times. Working in the health service, I used to run my clinics and stuff, and I used to have patients that used to come in and say, oh, you can speak good English. I thought that you, with your name and the way that you looked, you'd think, well, the way that I looked, hang on, I'm wearing a suit and a tie. But yeah, it's that type of thing, and I think that it's opened people's minds to not to read a book by the cover, and to make sure that they take on people for who they are rather than what they think they're going to be, and vice versa. I've made judgments about people. I always reflect back to that advert in the 80s again, of that skinhead that's running towards someone, and you think, oh, he's going to beat him up, but he's actually saving someone. And it's that type of thing. You see people, you take a judgment on their appearance, and you can make a big mistake, and I've grown from that, and hopefully people have grown with that as well.
Did you also get the impression at Harlow in that period in the mid to 80s with a lot of services being shut down? It was almost like, you know, there was a tendency, like a lot of places, but Harlow particularly had this thing. Yes. I wonder if that helped, you know, moving to a town where actually things are getting shut down.
I think it created some spaces to grow as one as well. I think the services closing, the industries closing, all the hardships that were being felt, but it seemed to be concentrated here in Harlow because of the nature of the town. I think we've all come out of that stronger. We've all created ourselves and given ourselves that blank canvas, and I think the town is going from strength to strength. There are some bits that take give the town a bit of flack. Some bits that have made the national news, etc., and international news, which are not good, but there's a lot of positives. There's a lot of positives, and over the years, I think I've seen a lot of things grow. If you take my industry, for example, the health service, we know that it's in a crisis, and etc., but there's a lot of good people out there. There's a lot of people that have been there throughout, the same as I have, and some that have been there from before. So there's a lot of commitment, and in what we've got that's good in Harlow is very, very good.
Because you mentioned Princess Alexandra or PAH, as you know, and there is a feeling of, no matter what statistics people bandy about how, you know, it's only 40% of people are from the Harlow, but people are very proud of their hospital and protective of their hospital, isn't
absolutely.
it? It's a very important place for you to have worked all that time.
Absolutely, and I think, I mean, I work in the community, but I work very closely with the hospital. I run services in the community, but to me it's a very special hospital. Even though I started my training abroad in Gibraltar, I've spent most of my adult life working here in PAH. And there's a lot of people who are committed to good services. There's a lot of people that are committed to the community that most of us belong to, and I think it's important that we make the area of healthcare locally as strong as possible. We've got a lot of challenges ahead, but again, if we stick together, stick to a plan, and the plans are being formulated, I think we can overcome this.
And did your children enjoy being brought up in Harlow?
Absolutely loved it. Yeah.
What is it they loved about it?
I think, again, they made a lot of friends, which is one of the things about Harlow, that you seem to think, or I seem to think, it's a bigger place, because I only come from 2 3/4 miles squared. Of my world was 2 3/4 miles squared, which isn't a lot, 30,000 people. So when you have the amount of people there are in Harlow and the expanse of Harlow, etc., you think that things are not going to be close. But the boys enjoyed a really good childhood. We had a nice house that we've moved from that was facing a field, and every day I used to come home from work and we'd go and kick a ball about, and it was just there. Julie would come out and call us for dinner. We'd come in, and whatever, the kids from around the neighbourhood, they made friends with kids from around Harlow and further afield. They all did really well in school. They've all gone to university. They've all come out with good jobs, and now they're basing their lives around here. Apart from my youngest one, who's moved to Switzerland very recently, but the others are all around here, and yeah, it's the kids that they grew up with are now still friends. So those links are still very, very strong. The families of those children are quite strong and friends with us as well. So it's just a whole community feeling that's really nice. And I thought that we couldn't replicate that, because Gibraltar being small, blah blah blah. Now we're in this place now that 30-something years ago we chose to come to, and I see a lot of that coming through. So family is very important. And the children's upbringing and what they've come out of that. They work in industries. One of them works in a national, international industry based. They were based in Harlow till very, very recently. But again, he's hasn't had to move to London to do all the work. One of them moved to London to work. But yeah, they still have Harlow as a centre, and yeah, there's a lot of positives and pluses for it.
Ram, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.